Fast. Several years ago, this restaurant in Houston, Texas made it a rule that no kids younger than 8 were allowed in here after 7 p.m. We reached out to the owners of Nettie's House of Spaghetti, requesting an interview. We have not heard back. In Tinton Falls, Dave Carlin,
Yeah, I'd say that's based.
The other day, I made a video where I mentioned that I had a less than cordial encounter with a couple of breeders because their 1-year-old son was screaming at the top of his lungs in a restaurant, and they were being extremely annoying and disruptive. Well, the mother of that child left a comment answering back, so I figured
Such an asshole.
I'd read through this and give my own response. Lol, that was me and my family who you weirdos had a problem with in that restaurant. Okay.
By the way, I made a video mentioning the situation just in passing. The video wasn't even about what happened at the restaurant. Jasmine and I were talking about why we chose not to have kids. And then we just mentioned, yeah, we ran into some like assholes at a restaurant, whatever. I didn't mention her name, what restaurant it was, like where it happened. And then she felt the need to publicly make a statement and fucking try to get back at me. So you need that context as well to like just see how much of an asshole this woman is.
Okay, first problem here, weirdos. We weren't the ones screaming at the top of our lungs. If we were doing what your child was doing, then yeah, we'd be weird. But I don't see how it's unreasonable to expect people to not scream as loud as they can in a restaurant. And speaking of weird, look at your youngest son. I'm not a fan of babies to begin with, but that's honestly one of the ugliest babies I've ever seen. But at least that little shit was quiet. Yeah, my 1-year-old was being loud, laughing and yelling and being excited. True,
Savage.
but he wasn't screaming at the top of his lungs like you two are making up. You're a lying bitch. Your child was screaming. He wasn't laughing and acting excited. He was just screaming because he thought it was funny, bothering everyone, and you don't know how to control your children, and you have to make up bullshit lies and excuses to try to hide the fact that you're a bad parent. Your kid kept screaming because he thinks you're a joke and he knows that there are no consequences when he doesn't listen to you. I have seen literal bitches discipline their children and raise their kids better than you. If you're worse at raising kids than an actual bitch, guess what that makes you? You're a You're a who has to lie to make up for their bad parenting. As well as Jasmine saying she politely came up to us, she was rude, saying she was literally going deaf. Yeah, she was sitting almost right next to your screaming kid, and her ears were actually hurting having to listen to that crap. Like, what, is she not allowed to tell you how much something is bothering her? Is it rude to state facts? Oh, I guess me...
What year did this happen?
This would have been 5 years ago. I think the video got taken down like 2 or 3 days after I posted it, and then somebody re-uploaded it right away. So yeah, 2017. And I think it happened in October. I think I went out and hung out with friends. Yeah, I think it was late October or maybe early November, something like that.
Calling you a lying
Thanks for the
is
donation,
rude
Sam.
then. So yes, my husband and I were rude back. Okay, well, at least you admit to being a Mind you, my husband would have never been rude to a woman, but he legit thought Jasmine was a man. I see, so your husband has trouble telling the difference between men and women. I think that says a lot more about you than it does about my wife. Does he just have a thing for strong chins? I guess that comes in handy when you're boxing. Oh, wait, is that a man or a woman? I also have a hard time...
Oh, this is so good, dude. Jesus.
Believing that your husband would never be rude to someone just because they're a woman. He's Muslim, isn't he? Kindness to women isn't exactly a staple in their culture. And when you asked my husband to go outside, a man with 2 babies and a wife with him, we were laughing at you. Okay, so why was a husband with a wife and 2 babies with him screaming at my wife. It seemed like he wanted to settle his disagreement with us with violence. Isn't that something he learned from his religion? So I offered to fight him outside, and wouldn't you know it, as soon as I challenged him to a fight, he stopped yelling and started acting much more polite and calm.
Oh, dude, the guy was screaming, literally getting right in Jasmine's fucking face, and it almost looked like he was winding up for like a punch or something. He was acting fucking crazy.
Weird how he's perfectly willing to yell at a woman.
Sorry? Yeah, and Jasmine wasn't yelling.
But when a man challenges him to a fight, he shuts the up.
Yeah, and Jasmine was being polite.
Maybe being violent and aggressive towards women is normal in his culture, but we have very different standards of masculinity where I grew up. So, maybe next time your husband wants to talk tough to my wife, he shouldn't be surprised that I'm perfectly willing to kick his ass. We are two grown was adults. If there was any place in this paragraph to check your spelling and grammar, that would have been it. He didn't.
Yeah, what a fucking idiot, dude. She's so stupid.
Calm down because he was
Oh, God.
scared or something. Well, he definitely wasn't scared of my wife. He seemed perfectly comfortable yelling at her. Clearly, women don't scare him, but if he's ever confronted by someone like me, he shrivels up like a little bitch. Which one's the man again? I can't tell which one is a man or a woman, honestly. The only person who got
So
up was
great.
Jasmine, and then myself after. Yeah, again, more lies. You were sitting on your ass almost the entire time, and your husband got up to our table to yell at my wife. You guys sound so stupid in this video. We chose to have children. We will choose to have more. Yeah, and you chose to have children with a cowardly Muslim man who's aggressive towards women because they are physically weaker than him and he figures he can get away with it. Who sounds stupid now? We are.
Yeah, that guy was a piece of shit. I really wanted to kick his ass. If there's one thing that I find pathetic and disgusting is dudes who act violently and aggressive towards women, but then when they interact with men, they calm the fuck down. That guy is one of the most cowardly pieces of shit I've ever encountered.
These days, it can be difficult to tell a man from a woman.
A little bit. Sometimes. But, you know. Thanks for that donation, Sam.